Today is May the 28th, 2003, with Mr. Ted Callaway. Mr. Callaway is now a 76-year-old resident of Dallas, and he's been in Dallas the majority part of his 76 years of living. On November the 22nd, 1963, Mr. Callaway was a manager for Dukes Motors in the Oak Cliff section of Dallas. And at approximately 1:15 p.m. on that very fateful Friday, Mr. Callaway was standing in the doorway of his car lot, and he heard 4 distinctive gunshots about half a block away. He ran to the sidewalk of Patton, which was the side street of his car lot, and he saw a man running in a south direction on Patton Street. Mr. Callaway witnessed the man coming down Patton, and he had a gun in his hand, which appeared to be a revolver. Mr. Callaway hollered at the man and asked him what the hell's going on. He said the man made some little sluggish reply. He couldn't understand him. This is Mr. Ted Callaway to my left, ladies and gentlemen. And Mr. Callaway is presently in this nursing home due to medical problems. However, he has agreed to do this about a 15-minute interview with me and the gentleman that's doing the interview here, Mr. Manuel. Mr. Callaway, first of all, I want to ask you, is this the man that you saw running from the scene of the Tippit shooting?
Yes, it is.
Do you know his name?
Yeah, that's
Do you recall anybody telling you his name?
yeah. I think I just see it here.
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Well, sure it is.
And that is the man you saw running.
Sure.
And Mr. Callaway, if you could, would you tell me how many shots did you hear that you remember?
These are 4 things.
4 shots. And were you in the company of a man named Sam Ginyard?
Yeah, he was in the back of me.
He worked at the back of the building? Mm-hmm. That's true. And Mr. Ginyard was a black man, right?
Right.
And he also detailed cars for you.
Yeah.
Did you know Domingo Benavides?
Yeah.
And he was your mechanic.
Yeah.
And on the day that Officer Tippit was shot, Domingo Benavides was also a witness to the crime.
Right.
Mr. Callaway, do you remember what the man did when he started running down Patton? Which way did he go?
Well, he was in Patton toward Jefferson.
Coming south on Patton toward Jefferson.
Right.
And then he made a right turn, is that correct?
Right, the right turn across the yard to the 2-story house.
When Mr. Oswald went out of sight, did you go to the scene of the shooting?
Yeah.
And what did you see, sir?
I saw her. And then it was loading somebody.
Did you see the officer on the ground?
Yeah.
Do you remember the ambulance coming and picking up the officer?
Yeah.
And did you assist in putting the officer in the ambulance?
Yeah.
Do you remember a cab driver being there?
Yeah.
Do you remember his name?
I can't remember right now.
Never knew his name. Did you and the cab driver attempt to chase the suspect?
Yeah.
You did. And did you reach down and get the officer's gun?
Right.
Yourself, you done that.
Right.
And for some 5 to 10 minutes, you drove the neighborhood trying to find the man you had seen running.
Right.
When you returned to the scene of the shooting, the ambulance had gone with the officer. Mm-hmm. They had already left.
Right. Do
you remember seeing a woman there?
Yeah.
And did you ever know her name? You didn't know her name?
No.
Was she close to the officer when you first saw her?
Yeah.
In what manner? Do you remember?
Across the street.
Was she bent down over him or standing by him?
I don't remember that.
You don't remember? Okay, that's fine. Mr. Callaway, as you ran to the Tippit shooting, do you remember passing another lady on the sidewalk?
No.
You don't remember that? That's fine, sir. Another question that I wanted to ask you, Mr. Callaway, about 5 minutes before or 5 minutes after, we're not sure, we don't know really, there was a stabbing incident that took place at the corner of 10th and Marsalis. Do you have knowledge of that, or have you ever heard anything about that?
No.
This happened within, like, say, 5 or 10 minutes of the shooting of Officer Tippit, either before or after, but you never heard anything about that?
No.
That's fine, sir. Do you remember, Mr. Callaway, Domingo saying that he had saw the man shoot the officer, Domingo Benavides?
Yeah.
He did tell you that?
Yeah.
And to your knowledge, he identified, again, this man right here, as you did,
Right.
as the man who shot Officer Tippit. Okay. I'd like to show you two other pictures, Mr. Callaway, real quickly. That was very critical to the testimony of Officer Tippit's murder. These are two different men. Out of these two men here, Mr. Callaway, which one would you say shot Officer Tippit? This man right here. Let the record show that Mr. Tippit is pointing to Lee Harvey Oswald. The gentleman on the bottom picture is Mr. William Lovelady. He was the man that was standing on the steps of the Texas School Book Depository when President Kennedy was assassinated. Mr. Lovelady was mistaken many times for Lee Harvey Oswald because of the favoritism. They certainly did favor. But on the day of the assassination, Billy Lovelady had worked at the depository some 3.5 years. Oswald had only worked there a month and a half. And Mr. Lovelady was 33 years old on that day. Lee Harvey Oswald was 24. They both were 5 foot 10 inches in height, but Billy Lovelady weighed about 205. He was a little pudgy, as to where Oswald weighed 160. But by face they did favor, but Mr. Callaway has just definitely positively identified this top picture, and that, for the record, ladies and gentlemen, is Lee Harvey Oswald. Mr. Callaway, did you know Jack Ruby?
I didn't know him. No.
You didn't know him personally. Did you ever see Jack Ruby?
No.
It has been reported, Mr. Callaway, that on the following day, Saturday morning, that Jack Ruby made an attempt, or did actually contact you at the car lot, and that you all spoke for about 5 minutes. Do you remember that happening?
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that. That's fine, sir. So, to your knowledge and of sound mind and your opinion, you never talked to Jack Ruby?
No.
Okay, sir. Once again, Mr. Callaway, when you saw the man running down Patton Street, in your opinion, did you see the gun that Lee Harvey Oswald had? Did you see the gun?
Oh, yeah, I sure had a gun.
Would you say it was a revolver or automatic?
Revolver.
It was a revolver in your opinion. Do you remember if the man you saw running had on a light colored jacket or a dark jacket?
Not jacket.
Light colored jacket.
Right.
And he was a white male.
Right.
Okay. He didn't have a cap on? Okay. Were you familiar with a place called the Gentleman's Club?
No, it wasn't.
Okay. Now you did know Johnny Reynolds
Yeah.
and Warren Reynolds.
Yeah.
They had a car lot across the street from yours.
Yeah.
Okay. And of course, Mr. Reynolds also identified Oswald as the man he saw running from the Tippit shooting. One thing I would like to make very clear during this interview is the fact that you did not see the shooting itself.
Right.
You heard shots.
Right.
And then within a minute later, you ran to the scene of the shooting.
There.
But you did see the man running away, who you feel, even today, was the man that shot the the officer.
Right.
Did you see Mr. Callaway? And I want to ask you this one more time. It was very pertinent to the fact. Just north of your car lot at the time that you ran to the sidewalk, do you remember seeing a woman with blonde hair and a tan colored raincoat on the sidewalk?
I saw a woman there.
You did see a woman? But that was the woman you saw leaning over the officer.
Yeah.
But you saw no other woman.
No.
Okay. That's what I wanted to clear up. Mr. Callaway, I want to thank you for your interview. Due to your health demeanor, we're not going to do this much any longer. I wanted to come and Danielle has taped this. At this time, I'm going to ask two of my colleagues to step in. And Bill, Steve. Come on in and we'll shut the door. Right. Now, Bill, and yeah, you can stand over there. I think you can get us all right here. You can stand right over there, Bill.
Oh, right here.
Yeah. As you just saw, ladies and gentlemen, I just interviewed Mr. Ted Callaway, and the interview was done by Mr. Manuel Hargis. The man you see standing to the left of Mr. Callaway now is Professor William Pulte of SMU College. Mr. Pulte is a longtime researcher of the Kennedy assassination and the killing of Officer Tippit. He has dedicated many years of his life to try to finding out the truth. Professor Pulte is also a very active member of the community of Dallas, and he tries to help people, and he gets involved when injustices are done. The gentleman you see standing to my left, the immediate left, Mr. Steve Allred, a very dear friend of mine. Steve himself has about a 20-year research in the Kennedy assassination. Along with myself, Steve and I work with Robert Groden every weekend down in Dealey Plaza, where President Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas. And most of the time we're on the grassy knoll area. And we want to percolate the truth of what happened that fateful Friday in the assassination of President Kennedy and the murder of J.D. Tippit, Officer J.D. Tippit of the Dallas Police Department. Many researchers feel that there certainly was a conspiracy, and we're certainly in that field ourselves. We feel that Lee Harvey Oswald did not shoot President Kennedy. We feel that he was involved, that he knew it was going to happen, but he was not one of the shooters. However, we feel in his involvement in the case, the fact that he knew Jack Ruby, when Officer J.D. Tippit heard the report at 12:45 over his radio, and we know for a fact, ladies and gentlemen, that Lee Harvey Oswald, Jack Leon Ruby, and Officer J.D. Tippit all three knew each other. There have been many reports of that in the last 40 years since the day of the assassination of President Kennedy. When Officer Tippit heard this report and the description of Oswald, he knew that Oswald worked at the depository building in Dallas. He more or less put two and two together in his mind. No one knows his certain immediate actions, and we can only speculate to some things. And we can tell you some things that eyewitnesses said and saw. But it's something strange certainly happened, because J.D. Tippit at about 1:14 did certainly enter the intersection of 10th and Patton in his squad car. And there he ran into a man whom I certainly believe was Lee Harvey Oswald. In the interview that I just did with Mr. Ted Callaway, he identified this picture of Lee Harvey Oswald as a man running away from the scene of that crime, and that's this man right here. He was 24 years old on the day of the assassination. He has been identified by many of the witnesses who saw him running away. Mr. Ted Callaway, Barbara and Virginia Davis, Domingo Benavides, Helen Markham, William Scoggins, just to name a few, Sam Ginyard, Warren Reynolds. But did Lee Harvey Oswald shoot J.D. Tippit? There were two great researchers who are both passed on now, Larry Harris and Larry Howard, who said that he didn't. Mr. Robert Groden, a very dear friend of mine, continue where I was. The incession of the whole thing is, from Larry Howard to Harris, is the fact that Lee Harvey Oswald did shoot J.D. Tippit. He was involved in the shooting of Officer Tippit. other people were seen at the scene, and we don't know who they were. But we just want to say that in our research and in our years of work, it is our conclusion at this point in time, May the 28th, 2003, that Lee Harvey Oswald most certainly did shoot Officer J.D. Tippit. Mr. Callaway, we want to thank you for your interview, and sir, you are certainly part of history, and I've always respected and admired you, and I hope you continue to have a healthy life in your sickness and your wife, and we want to thank you very much, sir.
Good.
Today is July the 1st, 2003. Here with Officer B.W. Hargis, retired of the Dallas Police Department. Officer Hargis and I have known each other for 33 years. We met in September of 1970. And Officer Hargis has not only been a friend, he's been like a father to me. And in my years of sickness and the last few years, he's been a friend, a father, a brother, and everything. Officer Hargis was on the Dallas Police Department 45 years. He joined the force in 1954 and he retired in 1999. And I know his wife, Miss Ruth, a very lovely lady, and his mother, Miss Edna, and his children, and they're all great people. On November the 22nd of 1963, Officer B.W. Hargis, along with Officer James Cheney, Douglas L. Jackson, and B.J. Martin were the four motorcycle escort officers to the presidential limousine of President John Fitzgerald Kennedy. When they arose in a point of downtown Dallas known as Dealey Plaza, they made a right-hand turn off of Main Street onto Houston Street, went one block to Elm Street and made a left and started down a very steep slope. Just to the north of that slope is an area of the park called the Grassy Knoll, a phrase that Officer Hargis himself coined as he ran up the knoll, and we'll get to that in a second. But also they passed a 7-story orange-colored building on the northwest corner of Elm and Houston called the Texas School Book Depository. And as they begin the slope, down the slope, shots began to ring out, and Officer Hargis was certainly there. He was on the left side with Officer B.J. Martin. He was the inside motorcycle to the limousine, about 3 or 4 feet from the back of the car. So, Officer Hargis, when you all turned the corner on Elm and begin your journey down Elm Street, down the slope, what did you hear? What happened?
Well, first, the first thing that I noticed when we turned the corner and was headed down under the triple underpass was a popping sound like a firecracker.
Yes, sir.
And that's what I wished it was at the time. But I looked over toward the limousine, and President Kennedy was bending over like that, back of the front seat, and Governor Connally had turned around, and I thought that Governor Connally had been shot because he had such a pained expression in his face.
On his face.
And then about 5 seconds later, the motorcade slowed down, and as he was slowing down, the president lifted back up and the bullet hit him in the head. That's about 5 seconds later. And when it did, there was a round plume of blood and water and body matter and everything that flew up in the air, and I rode right through it.
Yes, sir.
And I got it on my face, my helmet, my uniform, and my motorcycle.
You were just drenched with it more than
Yeah, that's when I knew that first shot was a gun, and the second shot was very, very loud, very pronounced. I knew that what it was.
Officer Hargis, in your opinion, and certainly being a police officer for 45 years and working homicide, robbery, traffic, and every other thing with the Dallas Police Department, in your opinion, Officer Hargis, and being an expert of guns, could you tell that day in what direction the shots were coming from?
Well, being down in that triple underpass, it's kind of an indention, and that's why we was going down the slope. But it rang out it seemed like it was just like in a bell. You couldn't tell exactly where the sound was coming from. And I couldn't tell, and I was looking around to see if I could see someone with a gun. And I guess everybody was in such a state that they didn't know what was happening. But when I rode up to, ran up to the triple underpass, the grassy knoll,
Yes, sir.
I noticed a bunch of people running in kind of a disorganized manner. I thought maybe it came from there, but as I got up to the top, I noticed there wasn't anyone there that was trying to get away.
Yes, sir.
So I ran back down, got on my motorcycle. By that time, the limousine, the presidential limousine, had already taken off. I was going to the hospital.
Yes, sir.
Rode on the other side of the triple underpass because I thought maybe that someone had went on the other side, but there was no one there. So I got on my motorcycle, rode back again, and that's when I noticed in the back of my mind that the president's head went to the left and to the front, which meant the bullet would have had to come from over his right shoulder. And I rode up to the school book depository, and there's so many people around at that time that the police officers that had arrived was just now getting around the building.
Surrounding the building.
Or surrounding the building.
And Officer Hargis, now when you looked up toward the grassy knoll and you dismounted your motorcycle, you waited for some buses to pass before you actually ran up the knoll, is that correct?
Buses?
Yeah, some of the buses that were in the motorcade, or did you jump off and immediately ran up there?
I jumped off my motorcycle and immediately ran over across the street looking for something possibly. And I don't know what went on behind me in the street. That's why when I rode up there, but I don't think there's any buses that...
Well, the reason I asked you that question, some of the researchers, as you know, over the years, they put so many different theories together about this. Some of them say that you actually waited until the press buses and the rest of the press cars passed before you ran up the grassy knoll. They said it was at least a minute.
No.
And I've always had trouble with that. I knew it wasn't that long.
No, it happened within seconds. I wouldn't say it's minutes.
No,
It happened within seconds.
That's what I thought. Now, Hargis, let's clear up one thing real quickly. When you got up to the grassy knoll up by the little retainer wall and you looked over and you said you saw some people. Now, as the years have went by, Hargis, especially since 1974, a man who I knew as you was being a police officer, I met him the year he was died. Some people say he was killed or murdered. I don't know. Roscoe White was a Dallas police officer. You knew him, right?
Yes,
And as you know, over the years, all these books that have been written by many researchers, they have claimed that there was a man behind the fence they call the badge man up on the grassy knoll.
No.
And they say that he shot the president, and a lot of them said it was Roscoe White. Now, as hard as being one of the few people to know that Roscoe White was on the grassy knoll, when you saw him, what was he doing?
Roscoe White was doing like I was doing, looking for someone who was with a shot. He couldn't tell just like I couldn't.
That's right.
Where the shot was coming from.
Yeah, and I have tried to express that to people myself, being a researcher, but you can't tell them that. And then also the other question. So besides that, you saw no one acting suspicious. You see nobody with a gun.
No.
There was a man named Gordon Arnold, also. He was a soldier. He was home on leave on the day of the assassination. Now, he said he was on the grassy knoll and that he was in his army fatigue. When you ran up there, do you remember seeing him?
No, I don't remember seeing.
That cleared that up. You didn't see him.
No.
Did you see a woman up there? A lady running back toward the statuette, the pagoda?
Well, I saw a couple of women. I don't know whether it was her or not.
Yeah, that was a lady sitting up there on the little bench, and I think she had jumped up as the shots began, and she probably was running to get out of the way, and that's all. I don't think she had anything to. Then also, Hargis, right there at the corner of the wall, where the retainer wall is, going up to the steps, they said there was a man there. They called him the Black Dog Man. He had on in one of the two of the slides of Phil Willis, and then the film of Orville Nix. You can see seemed to be an image in this black looking funny deal, and they called him the Black Dog Man. Some people even said he fired a shot from that area. And I say certainly if that would have happened, not only you, everybody else right there by the limousine.
Well, certainly. We would have known who it was, but that didn't happen.
You saw no such person at that time?
No.
Do you remember seeing Mr. Zapruder, the man who filmed the Zapruder film?
I might have, but I just don't remember.
Yeah, because you wasn't looking for him.
No.
Certainly. The other thing we can clear up all the Hargis, to your opinion and certainly if somebody had been down in that manhole cover, if they'd have been in there shooting a gun, what is your opinion on that? Some people say that.
My opinion is there was no man in the manhole cover. If there was, we would have seen him and it would have hurt him.
Okay. Now, Hargis, when you didn't go to Parkland Hospital, you remained in Dealey Plaza. And like you say, you went to the west side of the triple underpass, you didn't see anyone, and you came back.
That's right.
And what was your position when you come back? Do you remember what you did?
Yes, I came back and went from where I was at directly to the school book depository, because everyone was going there.
Yeah. And you took up a position up in the front guard like all the other officers.
Right.
Simple as that. I was in Dealey Plaza, Officer Hargis, about 2.5 months ago, and a guy came in and down there, and he said that he was a reporter in '63. He appeared to be about 68 to 70 years old now. And he told me that his last name was Haynes. I mentioned this to you the other day. And he said he offered you $17,000 for your helmet. Is that true? Did somebody offer you some money that day?
Somebody offered me some money for my helmet. I don't know who it was because I didn't stay with him that long, but I told him it belonged to the city of Dallas. He'd have to go to them if he wanted to buy it.
That's exactly what he told me. He said you told him that. That's exactly what he said. Were you present, Officer Hargis? There was 3 people arrested shortly after the assassination when the president was shot. Some 15 minutes later, 3 men were arrested over on what they call the 3 tramps, the hobos. I don't know if you've ever even known that, because I know you never got into the assassination in that form of way.
No.
But they were arrested. The 2 arresting officers were Marvin Wise, that walked them to the sheriff's department, were M.L. Wise and Billy Bass. There's pictures to prove that. And but you didn't see any of that.
No.
And when they arrested the 3 hobos off the train over there, you weren't over there. You were over by the depository. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. And one of the 2 last things I want to say, I'll ask you all, Hargis, in your opinion, being on the Dallas Police Department during that time, what was Dallas like as far as just the city itself? You was an officer and you patrolled the areas of Dallas. I've always said Dallas was a very fair city and a good city. What's your opinion of Dallas in the years you worked as a police officer?
Well, back then Dallas was. It was a good city, good place to live and bring your children up. There was no lawlessness like that ever in Dallas up until that time.
Yes, sir.
Nothing big like this has ever happened in Dallas.
That's very true. '63 was, that was a turning year.
And it really disheartened us.
Yes, sir.
It made us look bad because the whole country was looking at us, Dallas, at that particular time.
Officer Hargis, being one of the last remaining living officers, retired, certainly, of the Dallas Police Department of that time in 1963. As you know, and I think this you do know over the years, and have heard as I have, many people said the Dallas Police Department was involved in the assassination.
No.
This is something I'd like you to state on because I've always said that's a lie. What is your feeling on that?
My opinion is that not one Dallas police officer had anything to do with the assassination or collected any kind of monies from that assassination attempt in it all.
Well, that's just how I feel, Officer Hargis. That's one of the main reasons I wanted to do this interview with you today, because in knowing you for 33 years and knowing many other police officers who was on the Dallas Police Department in the 60s and the 70s and early 80s that I've known, I know for a fact that none of them men, including yourself, was involved, and I don't know why a lot of researchers have said that. A lot of people came forward. I was telling Steve Allred, the guy that's filming us today, of a lady that sent you a letter. I think it was from Kansas City some years ago, and the letter stated that you were solely responsible for the death of the
I don't know if it
president.
was a lady or not. I know that there was one letter written to me said that I was involved in that and had the president killed because I wanted to get Lyndon Johnson in office as president, which is a lie. I did not do that.
Well, Officer Hargis, we spent a few moments here talking, and I like to say on camera, for years, Officer Hargis, last several years, his health is not certainly been what it's been over when he was young or in his middle years. And we're not going to take up much more of your time, Officer Hargis, Steve and I, but we certainly enjoyed you coming and doing this small interview with us. And I think just the things we've said today will clear up all the mystery, because here's the fact, people. Officer B.W. Hargis was riding one of the motorcycles that day, and like I said, he was less than about 3 feet away from the left side of the president's car. And he can certainly state to what happened. He was there. All you researchers and people with these theories, that's fine. You believe what you want. One of the last questions I will ask you, Officer Hargis, is this. In your professional opinion, as a police officer, do you believe that Lee Harvey Oswald shot President Kennedy, or that he didn't?
Oh, he did.
That's what I wanted, because as the years went by, a lot of people say that Oswald didn't shoot the president.
No, he did.
And also, I do believe, and I stress this every weekend on the grassy knoll, I'm down there with Robert Groden, and I work with Robert. He's a researcher on the case, and we present some things, of pictures, of photographs of people taken, but also Lee Harvey Oswald shot and killed Officer J.D. Tippit of the Dallas Police Department.
That's true.
And I believe that he was involved in it all the way. And Jack Ruby shot and killed Lee Harvey Oswald, and he too was a crook, and he was involved. So that was the whole scenario there of the assassination. But because Jack Ruby was involved, that don't make the Dallas Police Department involved, and I'll never believe that. I knew Chief Jesse Carey. I had the pleasure of meeting him before he died in 1979. I met him in 1975. Young in life, I had some troubles in my life, but I don't evade that. And the reason I say that, ladies and gentlemen, is because facts are facts. But I was able to bounce back, and being around people like Officer Hargis and my pastor, Reverend Ralph Gossett, Professor William Pulte of SMU College, Steve Allred. My grandfather he lived a great life. Anything that I got into surely didn't come from home, because he would beat you behind, I tell you. And I'm 47 years old now. I've had some health problems, but I'm still alive, and I thank God for life every day. And the Lord Almighty is the master of this world, and one day we all must answer to His fold and His rapture.
Amen.
And I know Officer Hargis is a Christian. He's been a Christian all his life. I know his mother, Miss Edna, and he was raised a Christian. And Officer Hargis would not have taken part in any such thing that happened November the 22nd, 1963. Officer Hargis, Steve and I'd like to thank you, and we're going to get you back to the house, and it's been good spending the day with you.
Thank you.
Today is July the 8th, 2003. I'm here with Professor William Pulte of SMU College, and Mr. Steve Allred, who's doing the photography on this film we're doing today. My name is Mike Brownlow, and we're at the home of a lady who was very active in the Oak Cliff community back in 1963. She worked in Oak Cliff at one of the better-known restaurant facilities in Oak Cliff. On November the 22nd of 1963, as many people know, President Kennedy was assassinated in downtown Dallas in Dealey Plaza. And then some 45 minutes after the president was shot in Oak Cliff at the corner of 10th and Patton, a Dallas police officer was shot and killed, and his name was Officer J.D. Tippit. Officer Tippit, when he was killed, was an 11-year veteran of the Dallas Police Department at that time. The alarmment between the assassination of President Kennedy and the murder of J.D. Tippit had many similarities due to the fact that many people that were involved knew each other. And Oak Cliff certainly seemed to play a role in people that were involved in the assassination, witnesses and people actually involved in the case over the last 39 years, information that has come forward. Many Dallas police officers who knew certain people that were in crime, such people as Jack Ruby, the Campese family, just to name a few. And these names have all been mentioned in many researchers' books and many interviews done over the years. But the lady that we're here with today at her home, she does not want to be on camera. As you know, many witnesses have met very faithful, I should say unfaithful, deaths. And some people still don't want to talk. After all these years, I really don't think it's into captivity of badness, but then again, you never know. But that certainly is her choice, and she doesn't want her name said. Now, you will hear her voice as I ask her a question, Professor Pulte and I, but she will not be seen on camera. Ma'am, one of the first questions I want to ask you, working at this establishment that you worked at, you had seen Officer J.D. Tippit on many occasions, is that true?
Yes.
And Officer Tippit worked there primarily on weekends?
Yes.
As a security guard for the man who owned the establishment, right?
Yes.
Within the week of the assassination and within a week after the assassination, did you see J.D. Tippit?
Yes.
And on one occasion, about a week, maybe a week and a half before the assassination, I believe you told me that at one point you did see Jack Ruby there talking to J.D. Tippit one time. Is that true?
Yes, they had coffee in the back.
They had coffee in the back of the restaurant. And you didn't hear any of the conversation?
No.
But you certainly knew them by face, and you can say that you knew that J.D. Tippit and Jack Ruby did sit at a booth and drink coffee about a week and a half before the assassination.
At a table.
At a table. Okay. Also, you've told me in previous conversations we've had that Officer Tippit, on the day of the assassination, he was to meet another officer there, Officer Martin, and they were going to have lunch together. Is that true?
Yes.
And the reason you knew this because the other officer, Martin, had made this comment to you. Is that true?
Yes, he told me that Tippit was going code 7.
And that meant that he was coming in to have lunch with you.
Yeah.
And do you remember the time, just in estimating, I know you can't remember the exact second and moment, but about what time, and this was on November the 22nd?
Yes. It was probably, Owen Martin came in earlier that morning, and then he came back, and it was probably, it was right at our real busy time. It was probably around 12:15 or 12:30 when he came in.
12:15 or 12:30 p.m. on the afternoon of November the 22nd, 1963.
Yes.
That's when Martin
Yeah,
had
because
this conversation with him.
Yeah, because he sat in the front booth. He said that Tippit was going code 7, and he was ordering their lunch.
Okay. And then some few minutes later, maybe 6 or 7 minutes later, Officer Martin left in quite of a hurry, correct?
It was probably within about 5 minutes, because
5 minutes.
lunch, getting lunch up, It could have been a little longer because it was during our busy time, and but their food hadn't come up yet because I think it was about to come out whenever he got a radio call, and he jumped up and he said, "I gotta go."
He said, "I have to go," and that was Officer Martin.
Mm-hmm.
And he left at that point.
Yes.
And of course, J.D. Tippett never made it
No.
that day.
No.
Now, did you ever see, in your knowledge of your vision, Lee Harvey Oswald at Austin's BarBQ? Any question that you don't want to ask, you certainly do not have to ask.
I think I've seen him there a couple of times.
And let me say this, the lady I'm speaking with is not the only person. Many people have said that they have seen had seen Lee Harvey Oswald present at this establishment 4, 5, 6 times before the assassination as Jack Ruby. So the lady that I am speaking with is saying nothing that hadn't been said by numerous people and several Dallas police officers, some who are still living, some who are dead, but many people said that they had seen Lee Harvey Oswald at this establishment. Another question, did you know Harry Olsen?
Yes.
And you had seen Harry Olsen at this establishment?
Yes.
Over the years that you knew Officer Tippett as a more or less a security officer there at the establishment, could you name some of the officers that you saw him there with over the say 3 or 4 months before the assassination?
Bill Anglin, Owen Martin, Jimmy Stewart, Lester Mosley.
That's fine, but and that just covers the fact that many officers did come to this establishment, this restaurant establishment, and ate there and congregated and had coffee.
Every police officer that worked the Southwest substation was in Austin's every day.
Yes, you don't have, unless you won't say the name, that's fine. Another question. There was a story reported about 2 weeks, I think it was 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks after the assassination of President Kennedy and after the murder of J.D. Tippett, that J.D. Tippett had an affair with a young waitress. This story has been known since December of '63, and they tried to tie it together. Some people claim that this woman's husband was actually the man who shot J.D. Tippett. And I have never believed that, and I wanted to ask your opinion on that matter.
No. Steve was just not the type.
Exactly. This is information that I found too. Now, the waitress in question, and her name has been in books, it has been in interviews, and I am going to say it, and I take full responsibility for this. My name is Michael Brownlow, and I'm the one asking this question. The lady's name was, that we know her today as Johnny Witherspoon. At that time, of course, she was Johnny Thompson. And she worked at this establishment along with you and many other waitresses. Is that true?
Yes.
Did you physically ever see her and J.D. together?
Yes.
That's right. Now, about a week and a half after J.D. Tippett was killed and they had his funeral, he was buried, were you present at this establishment and witnessed the fact that Miss Marie Tippett, J.D. Tippett's widow, came into Austin's BarBQ and made a scene?
Yes.
And you were present at this?
Yes.
And I'd like to say for the record, before this lady told me this, I had first heard this story back in 1971, and it was told to me by Officer Roscoe White. It was around May of 1971 when Officer White told me this himself. And this is how I first came into the account of this story. And then I heard it many times, but before I'm having this conversation today with this witness. Professor Pulley, would you like to ask a question at this point?
I think I have three very brief questions. You mentioned before that you knew Officer Harry Olson when you saw him. You knew who it was. Did you ever see him there in the restaurant, perhaps with other officers?
Yes.
Did you ever see him sitting with J.D. Tippit?
Yes.
Could you? I know it's been a long time, but could you estimate how often you might have seen Olson with Tippit? I mean, maybe once a week or maybe once a month.
Yeah, probably once a week.
And that's interesting because I don't believe Olson was assigned, maybe he was at that time, assigned to the Southwest substation. Before Olson had been assigned to the downtown. Had been assigned down. I guess, is it your impression that Olson at that time was at the Southwest substation?
Yes.
I have one other question about when you said that you believed that you had seen Oswald maybe twice in the restaurant. I gathered that you believe that it was Oswald, but that you're not certain that it was, but that you think that it very likely was Oswald. Would that be correct way to put it, or are you certain that it was Oswald?
He was in there with a man and he was talking in a foreign language.
Oh.
They were sitting in a booth. J.D. was standing in front of the jukebox and they were sitting in the booth directly beside the jukebox. And when I took them coffee, he was talking in a foreign language and the man sitting across from him was also talking in a foreign language.
Naturally, one would think that it was Russian. At that time, had you heard Russian enough that you could kind of guess whether it was Russian or something?
No, I had no idea what language it was.
What was that other man who was speaking the foreign language? Was he about what age would you say he was?
He was probably around 40.
I have one other question. When you saw Jack Ruby seated at a table with J.D. Tippit, do you believe that it was him, or are you certain that it was those two people?
Oh, I'm certain it was Jack Ruby. He used to try to get me to go to work for him all the time.
Right, and also J.D., you were certain that it was J.D. Tippit
Yeah.
with him?
Yes.
You knew both, in other words, you knew both individuals very well in a sense. I mean,
Yes.
You knew exactly who they were.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Those were all the questions I had.
I'd like to collaborate on some of the questions that was just asked to this lady. As the years have went by, I have been researching the Kennedy assassination and the murder of J.D. Tippit since 1974, when I really got into it. Being raised in Oak Cliff and going to school in Oak Cliff, I met many Dallas police officers in 1968, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74. And many of them, we had conversations about the assassination and the murder of J.D. Tippit. The statements that this lady that we're interviewing just said was said to me by many people. In fact, I'll go to the point, the meeting that the talking that she was talking about, where she heard Oswald talking in Russian with this other man. Many people, and 3 Dallas police officers who saw his picture during the time of the assassination and years after, has told me that it was George de Moranche, a man who certainly spoke fluently Russian, and he was Russian. And when Marina Oswald and Lee came back from Russia, he kind of supported them and gave them help. And I understand that he helped and introduced the Oswalds to Ruth Payne, the place where Marina was living at the time of the assassination. And I would be willing to bet to a 99.9% probability the man that was there that evening in the restaurant, speaking of, was George DeMornshea, and I say this because 3 different Dallas police officers told me this. And the other thing in this establishment was, as she said earlier, it was like a family place. People went there and everybody knew everybody. And there was a lot of people that go there. It was a very, very, very popular place. They had great food. The owner was well known. I can't mention his name because I haven't gotten permission to do that at this point. But I'll just say the owner. I can say that legally. And he was well known. He had many customers. He had many friends that went into this place. And it was 1963, and particular food that he served, a lot of people ate and loved at that time. So that's why a lot of people went there, and then they become to know each other over the years, and people that worked there. And a lot of the policemen that went in there became friends with the waiters and the waitresses and the cooks at this particular place. And so this is how all these people come to know each other. And certainly in anything like that, when something happens or anything is going on, and you've got an alarmment of people involved or hear conversation where you're going to have talk. Some may be true, some may be not, but they certainly know what they saw and heard. There's no doubt that the lady that we're interviewing today certainly knew J.D. Tippit because she had seen him many times as working security. And as she certainly stated a while ago, along with her statement, many other people said that they saw Jack Ruby at this establishment many, many times. So, and 2 or 3 times Lee Harvey Oswald was seen there by several different people. Another question, ma'am, that is always certainly being now, getting back to the affair with the waitress that Officer Tippit had. It has been said over the years that Officer Tippit suppressed a child with this lady, and that they did have a baby. Now, I will say this because Miss Witherspoon, I had the pleasure of meeting her for the first time about 3 weeks ago from this day, maybe a month ago, at her home now. And Mr. Allred was with me, and we talked with her outside. She was standing in the door, and we stood outside of her iron screen-in porch. And we asked her a few questions, and she certainly did admit. She said, yes, I did have a relationship with J.D. Tippit. And I asked her about having a child with J.D. Tippit, and she told me that didn't happen. If you care to, would you comment, do you know that if they did have a child, as many people have said they did, or is that something you don't know?
She has a child that has J.D. Tippit's eyes to the T.
Yes, and many people have said that the eyes, J.D. had some very distinctive eyes, and many people I've heard many people say that. You can't say for personally sure that you know, but yes, I understand what you're saying. Another question that I asked Miss Witherspoon, I asked her, did she ever live on 10th Street? And long before I ever met you, ma'am, like I said, in the late 60s, early 70s, talking to people who lived on 10th Street, told me that she did. And 5 or 6 Dallas police officers who knew her said that she lived on 10th and Patton, second house from the corner on the south side of the street. Well, she said to Mr. Allred and myself, just like I said 3 weeks ago, she said, I never lived on 10th Street. Do you know in your mind for a fact that she did or didn't?
Yes, she did.
And that was in around 63.
Right.
Not too far, a little bit before Officer Tippit was murdered.
Yes.
On the very corner house were 2 ladies, Virginia and Barbara Davis. Did you know them?
I think they used to come into Austin's once in a while for lunch.
Yes, this is what I've been told. And Did you ever come into the acquaintance of a man named Max Long? Max was probably 5'10", but a little heavy. He was an ex-professional boxer. He probably weighed about 225, muscular. It has been said over the years that he was associated and did certain works for Jack Ruby. That's why I asked you that. He was had a receding hairline, but he weighed about 225, 230. Did you know Mr. Long?
Yes.
And you also came into acquaintance with him at the restaurant?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. In your opinion, did J.D. Tippit, what was his manner to you? In other words, what type of man did he seem to you?
He was a very friendly person. Everybody liked him. A lot of police seemed to rely on him. A lot of police would come in Austin's and talk to him about things.
And in your years of knowing Officer Tippit there at the establishment where he worked, did you ever see him just directly mistreat anybody or for without any cause or anything of that nature?
No, I never seen him mistreat anybody, but if you were JD's friend, he would help you.
Yeah, certainly, and that's been told me many times too. The reason I asked you that question, many people have said over the years that JD was real belligerent, and other people that I've talked to, people who I certainly feel that knew him, didn't seem to see him that way. They said that, you know, that he wouldn't take any BS off anybody. He'd put you in your place, but he wouldn't just start anything or try to harass someone because he was a police officer. Is that the way you saw it?
No, he didn't do that there because he worked security, and on Friday and Saturday we had Sunset High School basically.
Many of the high school kids.
From 10 to 2 in the morning.
Yes.
And they would act up and do a lot of antics, and I never seen JD get real tough with them.
Yeah, he would just stop them or whatever.
Right.
But not to the extreme of beating somebody or...
No.
Okay, that's what I've always heard. The Marie Tippit fiasco that happened when she came into the establishment some week and a half after the assassination, and you were present along with the other people who I know was present. Do you remember, did she call any name to your remembrance? If you certainly don't remember, you don't have to answer that question. Or was she looking for anybody in particular?
She was real upset. She wanted to know which waitress up there was putting flowers on her husband's grave.
I'd like to call right again and say this, with the statement that she just made was told to me by 3 other people who worked at this establishment and 1 Dallas police officer, what this lady just told me long before I met her. The lady I'm speaking with I've known for about a year, but long in the early 70s. The thing that she just said has already been told to me many, and I think it's been mentioned in some books, so it's nothing new, but the fact that she was there, she can talk about it because she was present. Another great thing on the Tippit murder was the time that he was killed. When the man who ran to the police car and said, "Hey, we have a shooting out here at 10th and Patton." This was recorded on the Dallas Police dicta belt at about 1:16. So we feel like Officer Tippit, and from his testimony, the man, and his name was Domingo Benavides, everybody knows his name was in many books. He didn't run directly because he kind of waited till the gunman that he saw got out of sight. Then he ran up there and he got on the radio in the police car. And that report came over the radio at 1:16, so we felt like Officer Tippit was shot at about 1:16. Now you have stated that Officer Martin was there at the restaurant between 12 and 12:15, waiting on Officer Tippett to come and join him for lunch. In some books and of statements that have been given out over the years, it has been reported that J.D. Tippett supposedly went home at about 11 o'clock, maybe 11:10, and had lunch with his wife and their youngest child at that time. And he made some statements to her that, you know, the president is in town, and I would love to see him, but I'm glad I'm not downtown having the responsibility of gardening. And he told her that he said, you know, we have a lot of nuts, hope anything don't happen. But with your account of the fact that Officer Martin said that JD was going code 7, and he certainly was coming to meet him at lunch, and Officer William Anglin had said he had had coffee or tea at the Rebel Drive-In with JD at about 11:15, then there's no way, as you and I just said earlier, we were talking before we started the interview, there's no way that JD could have went home and ate lunch with his wife. Would you collaborate on that? In your opinion, due to the fact of what you know, could J.D. Tippett have had went home and yet at the same time been en route to Austin's BarBQ?
Well, I don't know why. I mean, he didn't live that far from Austin's. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I just know that Owen Martin said JD was going code 7, to me meant that JD was in his squad car and was coming to Austin's for lunch.
yes, and that's what you're saying is very true, because with Anglin saying that evidently I think Anglin had asked JD to eat lunch with him, and he told him that he was going to eat lunch with someone else. They did have a cup of coffee or a glass of tea together. And I think was that maybe somewhere around 11:30, 11:45 that JD left en route to the establishment where you were at to meet Officer Martin. Of course, he never made it. There was a strange element of time, some 6 to 8 minutes, from J.D. Tippett's last transmission over his car radio, in the radio in the squad car, till he was shot. At 12:54, he told dispatcher Mary Jackson of the Dallas Police Department that he was at 8th and Lancaster and that he was at large for any emergency. And this was his last known transmission, because they tried to contact him after that and they couldn't. At about 1:02, 1:03, he was seen down on Zanes and Ewing, Lancaster, at the Gloco service station by Mr. and Miss Volkland and 3 of the guys that worked there at the station. A guy named Ainsworth was one of them. And they all 5 testified they saw JD sitting there in his squad car, JD Tippett, and that he took off at a very high rate of speed at about 1:02 or 1:03. Estimating the time that he left there at 1:02, 1:03, nobody knows where he went, but at approximately 1:09 or 1:08 or 1:09, he wound up at the Top 10 record shop on the corner of Bishop and Jefferson. And the owner, Mr. Doug Starkey, and his worker, Louis Cardenas, were there. And they said that JD came in and made a phone call from the phone there in the record shop, and that apparently he got in touch with no one, because they said he stood there as if it rained several times, and he didn't talk to him. He slammed the phone down as if he was mad and hurried out and got back in his squad car and took off. And they watched him as he left the corner of Bishop and Jefferson. And this would have been at about 1:11 when he left the Top 10 record shop, and then 3 minutes later, 4 minutes later, 1:14, 1:15, he shot at the corner of 10th and Patton. I've done this interview with you, ma'am, today to establish the factual things that you've known, and a lot of people have made a big deal about this, so I'm going to ask you, and there's been pictures of him, I don't know why. To the best of your remembrance in seeing J.D. Tippit, what was his description? What was height, size, that you remember?
JD was probably 6'2", 6'3", coal black hair, big, round, vivid blue eyes. Well built.
And I'm glad you said that. I'm very glad, because a lot of researchers have said that J.D. Tippit was like 5'11", and I thought, no. Many Dallas police officers told me this man J.D. was at least 6'2", if not 6'3", just as you said.
Yeah, he was tall.
Very, very cold, steel blue eyes. That's how they described it to me, and black hair. And you could tell that he had his descent of Indian, so he was kind of dark.
Olive skinned.
Yes, that's exactly what they said, exactly. So we cleared that up, because we certainly saw him in many occasions. At the establishment where you saw J.D. Tippit, and I guess first met him, before you saw J.D. Tippit at the restaurant establishment, had you ever seen him before?
No.
You had never seen him before, that's. And do you know who his partner was at that time? Was it Martin or Bill Anglin or?
Bill Anglin was his riding partner, and then Owen Martin.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I was told too at that time, 63. In the years as after the murder of Officer Tippit and the assassination of President Kennedy, certainly things were said and talked. Did you ever hear that Marie Tippit had previous knowledge of J.D.'s death, or that somebody was going to try to kill him? Did you ever hear that?
No.
Okay. That has been said, and I've never held any water to that. I like to say that myself, but that has been said. Of course, it's also been said that Miss Kennedy knew the president was going to be assassinated. I've never held any water to that either. But
I think she knew he was having an affair.
Yes.
Before.
Yes, I do too. Several people seem to think that she did know prior to his death that he had an affair. She may not have known who with, but I certainly think she knew that something was going on.
No, I don't. She knew. I think she knew that it was somebody at the restaurant,
Yes,
but because she would call.
Yes. To your knowledge, did J.D. sometime bring his son to the restaurant with him?
Yes, several times.
He did. And you knew him as Alan, right?
Alan. Mm-hmm.
And
he was about 11 or 12 then.
at that time, yeah. Now, prior to the assassination and the murder of Officer Tippit, you had worked there about 2 years,
Yes.
and you would say, safe to say that you went to work there in the summer of '61.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, I don't think there's any other question that we need to add to this. Mr. Allred, do you have anything you'd like to ask Miss Lady? I have been here with this lady today. It is July 8th, 2003. Professor William Pulte was here a little earlier. He had to leave for an appointment. And I'd like to say that the murder of Officer J.D. Tippit was a mystery, and is a mystery still to this day. Nobody really knows what happened that fateful Friday. It was a fateful Friday. It was a tragic Friday. A lot of strange things happened downtown Dallas and in Oak Cliff. Over the years, and it's been 39 years, will be soon 40 this coming November. Many people have said that J.D. Tippit, Jack Ruby, and Lee Harvey Oswald knew each other. This is my last question to you now. In your opinion, or if you can state for fact, would you agree to that, or do you know that for a fact, that they all three knew each other?
They all three would come into the restaurant and they all three talked, so I assume that they knew each other.
That's the best way you can answer that, because that's what many people have said, the very words you just said, that they saw, sometimes people have said they saw J.D. Tippit and Lee Harvey Oswald together. People said they saw Lee Harvey Oswald and Jack Ruby together. People saw J.D. Tippit and Jack Ruby together. People said they saw all three of them together. Not only at the establishment where you work, but downtown, at Ruby's Club, the Carousel, and other places. So many people have said this over the years, and certainly people that saw it. You know, a lot of researchers have tried that. No, they haven't tried, they've done it. They've taken people's testimony and things that they saw and tried to twist it to their way, or the way they wanted it to be. Or they try to say it wasn't true at all, and it's a damn shame, because a lot of them have got into this thing for money purposes only, and they don't know a damn thing about this Saturday and other Tippit murder. They call themselves self-proclaimed experts, and like I've done with you today, I try to let the people talk and know what they knew and was there and saw things. I don't think, in reality, I'd like to go on record saying this. At the time J.D. Tippit was killed, there were two people who was very close to the shooting, and neither one of them actually saw it. I said two, I'll go back and reframe that, I'll go to three. They were Helen Markham, who was a waitress. She was walking on Patton Street South, going to Jefferson to catch the bus. Domingo Benavides, the mechanic who worked for Ted Callaway at Deuce Motors. He was coming west on 10th Street in his truck, going to get a part number for a carburetor he was fitting to pick up. And then the cab driver, William W. Scoggins. He was sitting at the corner of 10th and Patton in his cab, eating his lunch and drinking a cup of coffee. The only one of the three that could have actually saw the man pull the trigger would have been Domingo Benavides, because he was going west in his pickup and he was looking in the direction. Mr. Scoggins' view was blocked by some bushes and shrubbery, and he was eating his hamburger and his coffee. And Miss Markham was standing over on the northwest corner. She had saw the police car pass by in an eastern direction, and she looked down that way a couple of times. I don't know if she was actually looking when the man pulled the trigger. I think she had looked back straight, or maybe even looked to the west when she heard the shots, and then she saw the man running toward her in a western direction, as did Mr. Scoggins. But they were the closest three people, and they could not give in full account of what happened, because I don't think either of the three actually saw the man when he pulled the trigger. As you know and heard over the years now, a lot of people said that Oswald was not the man who shot Tippit. I believe he was. I believe that Lee Harvey Oswald was involved in the assassination of President Kennedy. Was he a shooter from the 6th floor window? That's another story. I'm really not sure. I don't know. I know many people that believe that he was. I know some women who said that he was on the 2nd floor in the lunchroom at the time the shots were fired. If that's true and their testimony was true, he could not have been on the 6th floor. One Dallas police officer, Marion Baker, had an encounter with Oswald some 39 seconds after the shots from the 6th floor. And that being true, Oswald could have not have been on the 6th floor, even though he was accused of the crime, arrested. Of course, Jack Ruby shot him that Sunday, November the 24th, so we'll never know. I have my doubts as to Oswald being a shooter. I do believe that he was involved. I do believe Lee Harvey Oswald knew President Kennedy was going to be assassinated. I do believe that Lee Harvey Oswald knew Jack Ruby sometime prior to the assassination, and that he knew Officer J.D. Tippit. I believe that Officer Tippit, on the day of the assassination, when the words came over at the 12:45 description of the suspect, and the fact that the Texas School Book Depository was mentioned, Officer Tippit knew that Oswald worked there. He put two and two together real quick as he heard the description of the suspect, and he began to search Oak Cliff, knowing that Oswald knew that Jack Ruby's apartment was in Oak Cliff. Oswald lived in Oak Cliff. Ruby had many ties in Oak Cliff, and in all probability, this was the way Oswald was coming, and he did. And unfortunately, they met at the corner of 10th and Patton, somewhere between 113 and 115. And when J.D. Tippit approached Lee Harvey Oswald and then got out of his squad car and began to walk around the front to ask him questions or to arrest him or to search him or to whatever he was going to do, Lee Harvey Oswald shot and killed J.D. Tippit because he was involved as part of the assassination. He may not have been a shooter of President Kennedy, but I've researched this thing now for many years. As the man here with me doing the film today, Mr. Allred, I can say this legally because I do and am associated with Robert Groten. Robert is a long-time researcher of the case. He's considered the world's leading authority on the case, and he probably is for the photographic expert. Robert doesn't believe that Oswald shot President Kennedy at all, and it's a very good possibility. And in all probability, he may be right, because like I said, it is, in my mind, there's great doubt that Oswald fired any shots from the depository. The one thing that Robert and I certainly disagree on is the Tippit shooting. I believe that Oswald shot Tippit. Robert Groten doesn't believe that he did at all, and he states that very well in all the books he's written. Some people said that there were accomplices at the Tippit shooting, that there was more than one shooter. One man in particular, and I'll say his name, Jack Tatum, who in 1978 came forward 15 years later and said that he was a witness to the Tippit shooting. But it was 15 years later before he come forward, which I can understand that because witnesses were scared. I'll give him that. But what he described, Domingo Benavides, Bill Scoggins, or Helen Markham didn't see, and they were there before he rode through in his car. And none of the three saw what he supposedly saw. Another man who was in his house, he heard the shots and ran outside. Within seconds of the shots at 10th and Patton, Frank Cimino, he too didn't see what Mr. Tatum saw. Two other men who were standing at the corner of Denver and 10th, Jimmy Burt and William Smith, who were witnesses. They had saw Oswald walking west just a few moments before the shots were fired. They didn't see what Jack Tatum saw. Mr. Tatum said he saw Oswald shoot across the car, and the officer fell. He was looking in his rearview mirror. The officer fell, and then Oswald walked around the back of the squad car, stood over the officer, point blank, and shot him in the head. When all the evidence and other witnesses seemed to the fact that all the shots were fired across the hood of the car, and that Oswald took off in a slow trot running. So we don't know what happened. But what we're trying to clear up is, and I think we've certainly done it along with your interview and many other people I've talked with, is J.D. Tippit scrounged into something he probably didn't want to that day, unfortunately. And being a police officer, he knew that two men that he knew was involved, and I really believe that he was going to arrest Lee Harvey Oswald. At the time, along with the R.S. Nelson, and I think maybe Bill Anglin, and another officer, Alexander, they were only about 4 police officers in Oak Cliff at that moment because all the attention had been attracted to downtown because of the assassination. So J.D. was in that particular area alone. And I have never seen a report where he called in and said, I'm pulling over to question a suspect here at the corner of 10th and Patton. I don't believe he did. If he did, nobody's ever seen that copy of that transmission. I think that he acted alone, and when he got out of his car on the left-hand side, the driver's side, and stepped out, he put himself in an odd position because Oswald was standing on the right-hand side of the car on the sidewalk, probably gun already at least in his hand in his coat pocket, and when he drew his gun, Tippett had to kind of veer to his right to try to defend himself. Officer Tippett's gun was laying under his body. Evidently he was able to draw his pistol, but not fast enough before he was shot by Lee Harvey Oswald. I say that he was shot by Lee Harvey Oswald. All the evidence that I've accumulated over the years, and let me say the Warren Commission, some of their some findings were true and some weren't. They felt that Lee Harvey Oswald shot J.D. Tippett. Most Dallas police officers that I know felt that Lee Harvey Oswald shot J.D. Tippett. He was identified, the man that was identified, and this was the last of my interview here, I won't say this. When Officer J.D. Tippett was shot, and the man that was running away from the scene was seen by Helen Markham, Bill Scoggins, Ted Callaway, Virginian Barbara Davis, Sam Ginyard, R.L. Patterson, Warren Reynolds, a gentleman named Mr. Lewis, I can't recall his first name. All these people saw the man running away. And every one of those people, every one of them, identified Lee Harvey Oswald as being the man that they saw running with a gun in his hand, appearing to be shaking the bullets out. And that he was identified subsequently by every one of them. And one lady, a black lady named Aquila Clemens, claimed that she saw two men running in different directions and they pointed at each other. And I simply think that she got, Jimmy Burt and William Smith ran up to the scene right after the shot, and they were arriving as she ran out of her house. And she said one was a thin black-haired man and Jimmy Burt was very thin, and she said the other guy was short and stubby. William Smith was probably 205, 210 pounds and heavily built. And she saw them running up, pointing and shouting, and Frank Cimino had run out of his house at that point, and the cab driver. And this is what Miss Aquila Clemens saw. It has been said over the years too that Max Long was present, and he could have been. I believe that he could have been because the testimony of a lady named Miss Milan, whom I interviewed and talked with. I say interview, I talked with her. I was going to interview. I didn't get the chance to interview her because she died about a week before I was going to interview her, but I did talk to her, Professor Pulte and I, and she was in her own residence across the street, and she heard shots. She got up and looked out the window, and she said she did see a man in a dark blue jacket very close to the Tippett car at the time of the shooting, and that he was short and pudgy. Oswald was 5'10" and 165 pounds. He wasn't pudgy. That was another thing about the question. Oswald's clothes that day, especially the jacket. Did he have on a light blue, a dark blue jacket or a white jacket? Every witness that I have talked to over the years said that Lee Harvey Oswald was wearing either a light gray jacket or a white jacket. And there's a lot of difference between light gray and white and dark blue. Dark blue is almost black, or navy blue. Every one of them. But a block away from the Tippett shooting, two jackets were found. The white jacket and a dark blue jacket were found in the alley behind Crawford and Jefferson. Was it a plant? Was it, was it something that happened that somebody tried to throw off the investigation of the evidence? We don't know. They were found there. And other witnesses saw other things over the years, and they came forward. But in all probability, to the evidence and testimony of like the lady we just talked to today and other witnesses we've talked to, Lee Harvey Oswald did shoot J.D. Tippit, and he killed him. And that's how Officer Tippit met his death. Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested at the Texas Theater at about 1:48. He was taken to the Dallas Police Department and held in custody until Sunday, November the 24th, when they were transferring him to the Dallas County Jail from the Dallas Police Department. And at 11:21 that Sunday morning, he was shot and killed by a man named Jack Leon Ruby, who was a Dallas nightclub owner. Ma'am, I want to thank you for your time and inviting us into your home and talking with you. And your face will not be in this tape. Your voice will, as you made statements, and that's all. And we want to thank you. You are a part of history as a witness to things that subsequently happened after the assassination and the murder of Officer Tippit, as many people have been, some who are still living, some who have passed on, some who met unexplained deaths. But the history of anything this great should be known to the American public, for we still have the right to know. And that's why Mr. Allred and I are doing this now, and we're trying to just get the facts as to what happened. And we thank you very fluently.
You're welcome.
Yes, today is July the 18th, 2003, and I am in the office of Mr. Malcolm Summers. I'm here with Mr. Steve Allred. Mr. Allred is doing the photography work on this interview. Mr. Summers is a man who was in Dealey Plaza on November the 22nd of 1963. He was there. He went down to see the president that day, and he was standing close to Main Street there by the triple underpass, not too far away. In front of him were a few people standing there in the grass, as he was, but he was standing closer to Main Street at that point. When the president's car made the left-hand turn off of Houston onto Elm and started down the slope of Elm Street there, Mr. Summers was looking in a eastern direction, watching them coming down the hill. So, Mr. Summers, at what point did you believe, did you hear a shot?
Well, I heard the first shot I heard was right just soon, quickly after he turned the corner off of Houston Street, I think it was, and it really sounded like a firecracker more than a shot, and that's why I thought it might be a firecracker, was because the Secret Service guys or FBI, whichever one was on the back of that car, kind of looked down at the ground like they thought the same thing, like somebody threw a firecracker. Well, that was only temporary, of course, and then the car proceeded on down, and then there was that second shot, and I know they forgot about firecrackers by then. There wasn't no firecracker by then.
Yes, sir.
And then very quickly, after the second shot, the third shot fired. So I heard all of that and saw Jackie Kennedy. I had heard Jackie Kennedy say, "Oh God, no," and then I heard Connolly say, "They're going to shoot us all," or something. And that, the power of suggestion or something, because when he said "all," gave me the idea too. There's other people shooting besides. Whoever was shooting. I thought it maybe several, more than one, of course.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's when I first become attention to it, because I saw it and heard it all.
Mr. Summers, as you saw that, now you were looking toward the north, toward the grassy knoll.
Yes, I was looking that way, yes.
And you saw the men over there on the steps?
Yeah, and I saw everything was over there, and I was facing that way.
You were, that's right.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Summers, did you see anybody up by the fence, what they call the picket fence? You've been there a million.
No, I didn't particularly see anything at that time about that. I was become aware of that later, but I really didn't look in that direction to see that. I certainly didn't.
Do you remember seeing any smoke?
Well, I thought I did, but yet I didn't even think about that being the case. It don't relate. You don't relate to what's happening.
You wouldn't think about that because you know.
You don't relate to what's really happening. Yes, you don't.
And standing kind of in front of you, Mr. Summers, was a group of people, and there was a lady in a red raincoat. Do you remember seeing her?
Yeah, I do.
Her name was Jean Hill.
Yeah, I saw her.
And the lady she was with was Mary Mormon.
Yes, and I know
you
them
saw them.
after the fact. I know them.
And did you see there was 2 photographers there, Jim
Yeah.
Hawkins and Richard Buffon?
Yes, I saw them.
Okay. Now, after the shot hit the president in the head, did you see that the head shot?
I saw the head shot and I saw blood even, but by that time I just thought he was ducking instead of really hit. I knew he was hit, but I didn't know what degree there. I did see the blood, and I saw him go down. So I just assumed, at that point I thought he was ducking.
Mr. Summers, in your opinion, sir, being in Dealey Plaza that day, and you certainly were there, and anybody can answer this question, you can. Do you feel, in your opinion, sir, shots came from 2 different directions?
I felt like it was more than one shooter. Yes, I do. I just certainly felt like it was 2 different directions because of that statement there.
I'd like to tell you, many people feel that way, and I'm one of them.
Yeah.
Now there's always been a question, Mr. Summers. I know you've been kind of kept up with it over the years. You come down to Dealey Plaza 9, and you quite see me there quite often with Robert Groden, and we're up there on the knoll. We do a presentation on the assassination every weekend. And knowing that you've kept up with it, as you know, Mr. Summers, down through the years, many people talk about the shot from behind the fence. And they say there was a man up there, they called him the badge man. He was in a police uniform, and the other man was at the kind of the south part of the fence, about 8 feet from the corner. When after the shots, and after you dove to the ground, and then you got back up, did you go over toward the grassy knoll?
Yeah, yes, I did. I ran over there after the traffic, after the cars got on by, and the motorcycle and the motorcade got on by me, and then I run over there to, I thought, everybody, well, I say everybody, a lot of people, and plus the police, were going down toward the railroad track.
That's right.
And that made me think that they saw him and they was headed that way to get him or catch him.
Yes, sir.
So certainly that's what I wanted to do too. At that point, I wanted to see him catch him and
Yes, sir.
shoot him or whatever.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now you did see the motorcycle officer jump off the motorcycle.
The cop come off the bike right in front of me,
Yes, sir.
looked straight at me, and that's why I hit the ground. I thought he pulled his gun and put it back up right away, but he looked at me, and I knew it wasn't me he was looking at, but someone behind me.
Yes, sir.
So that's why I hit the ground.
Yes, sir. I don't blame you. Once you got across the street, Mr. Summers, did you see the man, Mr. Zapruder, the man who took the famous Zapruder film?
I didn't
Did you
see
ever meet
him.
or
No, I didn't. No, I didn't meet him.
Okay.
But I did run into a person that was dressed as, I thought, FBI man or a detective, or like local detective, that stopped me and told me, and he didn't only talking to me, but he's talking to others that don't come up here, you could get shot.
Yes, sir.
And I do, at least, I rate to being shot as being killed.
Yes, sir.
And so he put them together real quick. And so I reported that at a later date about this guy dressed in a suit, a hat, and everything. And also, he had a gun under his coat. And I could see the muzzle right at the front.
Yes, sir.
Now, it wasn't visible to someone looking from the side or anything. It was visible because I was running straight at it.
Yes, sir.
And I could see the muzzle.
The barrel.
Yeah, barrel. And so I know it was other people. I don't know how many. I'd say 4 or 5 at least. He said, "Y'all don't come up here. You can get shot." And I know they had to hear it also. But yet, it doesn't seem like any others has come forth about that statement.
Well, yes, sir, Mr. Summers, I don't know if you know, some other people did make that statement. One lady that I've talked to over the years, and I'll just say Miss KW, and I won't say her name because she's not here.
Yeah.
But I have talked with her over the years, and she ran up that knoll too, and she saw the same man that you saw, There was a black gentleman who was a witness there on the day him and his wife were there. They ran up there. They too saw the same man you saw. Yeah, many people. Yes, sir. And I want you to know, Mr. Summers, that all the times I've met you, and from the day of the assassination, we know that the thing that you said is true. You know, the Warren Commission finally came to the assertion that all the shots came from behind and that one man fired them, but we know better than that. And this has been the strong point of the Kennedy assassination. And of course, this is 2003, and this November will be the 40th anniversary. And many people are going to be there that are still living, people that were there in the plaza that day as yourself and myself, and
I'll certainly intend to be there also.
yes, sir. And all of them that I've talked to recently said that if they're living November the 22nd, 2003, they're going to be in Dealey Plaza.
Absolutely.
And we've interviewed Officer Hargis, we've interviewed Ted Callaway, we've interviewed another lady. She doesn't want her name identified. She's still scared. She did give us some very, very crucial information, things she knew about the case. And this is what we're doing. We're interviewing people who are part of history. And Mr. Summers, I tell you, you know, you were there that day, and it was a great thing that what you saw and heard, and you're a big part of history because so many books have been written about the Kennedy assassination, so many theories, and people talking about people shot from the manhole cover and down from by the fence and up on the jail. And you know, none of these things, in my opinion, and I share this with many people, and the photographic evidence certainly proved that none of those things happened.
No, that's my
shots,
belief.
Shots did come from that book depository and from over there by that fence. And Mr. Summers, in your opinion, from the first time you heard a shot to the last shot, how many seconds would you say passed?
Well, from the period from the first shot to the second, I just got to tell you in this manner. I don't know how to say the time-wise, but it was a little bit of a few seconds, or a few, millimeters a second or whatever. And then, but the third shot come almost simultaneously after the second one.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it was so close together that's one of my beliefs that I don't think one person ever did this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, once again, I'll say something you just said there about the third shot coming simultaneously to the second shot. That did happen, sir. They've heard the shots on the dicta belt recorded on the Dallas Police Department, and those shots were very close together. Now, Mr. Summers, a total of shots, how many did you hear?
I heard 3 shots.
You heard 3 shots. And the reason I asked you that, Mr. Summers, as you just said, you heard 3. Many people said they heard 3. Some people said they heard 4. Some people said they only heard 2. Some said they heard as many as 8. But on that day, you heard 3.
I heard 3. That's the way I felt.
Yes, sir. And we, like I said, we interviewed Officer B.W. Hargis just a few weeks ago, and Officer Hargis was the motorcycle officer that you saw jump off the motorcycle and run up the hill. And he said he heard 2 shots, and he was right there by the limousine on his motorcycle.
Oh, yeah.
But there were other people who said they heard 2 shots as well. There were many who said that most of the witnesses said they heard 3.
Well, that's the way I feel.
I don't know if you've ever known, I wanted to tell you this. There was about, in Dealey Plaza that day, there was about between 450 to 600 people in Dealey Plaza.
Okay, yeah.
And that's people in the windows and waving at things of that nature. Out of that, just say 600, I think 239 were interviewed or talked to that day, the day of the assassination. Did you talk to any police officers that day?
No, that day I waited till the next day before I went down to the sheriff's office.
Yes, sir.
The reason I did is I wanted to hurry home and see actually what the TV had to say about it.
Yes, sir.
And I had called my wife and I told her to turn on the TV. And I had made a phone call from the post office where I was when I run over there to see him.
Yes, sir.
And she heard some the guys in there that worked there, employed, laughing at me because I was shaking and I was so white. And she heard them laughing and she thought I was saying it as a joke. And I said, "It's no joke. You got to turn on the TV."
Yes.
And that's why what I did. I mean, yes.
Now, Mr. Summers, you're a Dallas native, or you
I was born and raised in Dallas.
born and raised in Dallas, Texas? Yes, sir.
Absolutely,
And fought in World War II and the Korean War?
that's correct.
Yes, sir. Well, Mr. Summers, we're very proud of you, and I think this is about the 6th time I've met you, and I know you know Robert and met Robert many times, and I'm just glad that the good Lord still has you here. How old are you now, Mr. Summers, if you don't?
I am 78.
78.
This month, 28, I'll be 79.
79. You'll be
And
79.
my wife and I celebrated the 50th anniversary last December.
Yes, sir.
And I do like to add this, that I appreciate you guys taking the time and doing what you're doing, because for about 25 years, there's a lot of people like yourself that wanted to interview me, and I would say no, I didn't want to get involved or didn't want to give my time. And then my 2 sons convinced me, said, Dad, you're a part of history. You need to talk to them. People said, you're not that important that you can't talk to them. And I agree with them 100%, but I didn't look at it exactly in that light when I was saying no to a lot of people like yourself.
Well, in view of and I'm sure your son will see this interview, we will give you a copy of this interview. In view of what your son said, they were very right, but also let me add, in the years that you're not talking to people, over the years, Mr. Summers, as you know, in fact, within 4 years, by 1967, it is reported that some 45 witnesses had come up dead. They were murdered, 3 or 4 Dallas police officers. Dorothy Kilgallen, the lady that was on Once My Line, and so, of course she was a news journalist. Mr. Jane Wall, Hank Killam, Rose Cheremy, just to name a few. They all came up dead, and they were very vital witnesses as yourself. So in the years that you didn't speak to people, probably was a good thing.
It might be, and then a lot of people have asked me that exactly, was it because I was afraid? I was aware of them people being shot or killed or dying or
Yes.
whatever. But that was not the reason that I didn't come forth. It was just exactly why I said.
Yes, sir.
Although I'm sure there was some concern that I should have had.
Yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir, because many people's families were threatening things in this.
Absolutely, I think it's possible.
And one of the last 2 questions I'll ask you, Mr. Summers, real quickly. You being a Dallas native, and I've asked all the other people who've interviewed this, what is your opinion of Dallas in general? The reason I asked that, Mr. Summers, you know, people said, well, the people of Dallas killed the president, and that didn't happen.
Oh, well, that's certainly one thing that's bothered me a great deal, because being born and raised here, that really hurt me, because they thought everybody in Dallas was just no good. They ought to bomb the whole city. There was people talking like that all over the country. And I certainly felt that that was unjustified, and still do. I mean, I'm just proud of this city. Sorry that happened, but I'm proud of Dallas, and I'll, to stand up for Dallas.
Well, Mr. Summers, like you, I've been in Dallas 45 of my 47 years of living, and went to school in Dallas, elementary school, junior high school, and high school. I went to high school out in Garland, and I have always loved Dallas, Texas. I've been all over the United States, most of the big cities, Los Angeles, Chicago. I've been to New York one time, Denver, Atlanta, Georgia. I've been all over the United States. But to me, there's no place like Dallas, Texas.
And I agree with that.
And I love it. And certainly there were certain people that disliked President Kennedy in Dallas at that time. And
I want to add right now that I voted for him, and I'm a Republican, but I still voted for him because I liked him very much.
Yes, sir. Many people that voted Republican back in 1960 voted for President Kennedy. They voted Democrat for some reason.
I absolutely did.
In fact, that was one thing that made the race so close between him and Nixon, because a lot of the Republican Party did vote.
I was certainly one of them.
Well, Mr. Summers, Steve and I have, Mr. Summers, when you saw the motorcycle officer, this is a point I want to clear up. When you saw the officer jump off the motorcycle, who I'm pretty sure was Officer B.W. Hargis, because out of the 4 motorcycle officers that was around the limousine, he's the only one that dismounted his cycle and ran up the hill. Did you see him run up the hill, and what did you see?
Well,
him do?
yes, I did see him, but I didn't. I guess I was thinking the same thing I was telling y'all a while ago, or telling you a while ago, about everybody. There was a lot of people running up there and running down that railroad track, you know, at the mall, knoll up there. And I just didn't make a point of that, other than everybody else was, and I wanted to be there to see him shoot him, the guy that did it.
Up on the bridge, the triple overpass.
Yeah.
Did you see some people up there?
Well, I don't recall seeing them because I wasn't there that long
Yes, sir.
to observe that many things around me.
Certainly you weren't. That's what. Yeah, I understand that. And the last question is, there was a lady in Dealey Plaza, Mr. Summers, she's still living today. She's, I guess, in her mid-60s now, or early 60s. She's a very well-known lady. In fact, Mark Oates, who's also interviewed you, he interviewed her. She's written a book with Bill Sloan, and she was very young in 1963, though. She was only 17 years old, but she was in Dealey Plaza the day of the assassination.
Yeah.
And she was taking pictures, and she had on a beige coat with a funny scarf. They call her the babushka lady. And she was standing over there by the gentleman you saw. Did you see such a lady? Do you remember seeing her?
I really don't recall exactly that. I don't want to say yes, because I guess I was too excited and too everything, emotionally upset.
And the other reason I asked you the question about her is the fact that she was 17 years old, and she was there, and I know she was there. We've talked to her. Steve's talked to her, and I've talked to her. I've met her 4 or 5 times. But many people, many of the researchers and critics and the know-it-alls who think they know it all say that wasn't her, and it was. And we just wanted to ask you, maybe if
my reason for making that explanation is when something like that happens, you can't imagine how emotional you are, and it really. It's so bewilderment. What happened? I mean, you can't believe it.
I have tried to make that point. You know, a lot of people say, well, what did you see? Did you see this? And, well, you know, you're not there looking for that. You're looking at a man getting his brains blown out, and he's the president. Well, you're not there to see.
No, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, I know. So everybody out there, yes, sir, believe me. My aunt, Miss Hattie Mae Williams, and I, and several of our neighbors had went down there that morning from Oak Cliff, and I was going to Immaculate Heart of Mary Catholic School. And we went down there that morning, and we were over there by the fountain, and then across the street. And they had just turned the corner, like you said, and started down Elm Street when the shots began to ring out, and it was mass confusion after that headshot.
I'd like to add one more thing, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Today, President Bush is here visiting Dallas, and believe me, I thought about Bush being here and Kennedy. You know, boy, I'm telling you, they better take good care of that guy.
Yes, sir. I remember a few years ago, President Clinton came to Dallas, and boy, there was a lot of Secret Service, and you know, the Dallas Police Department they had their hands full that day. You know, many people, and I'm saying this is not Mr. Summers saying it, my name is Michael Brownlow, I'm saying this, many people criticize the Dallas Police Department and blame them for the death of President Kennedy because they said they didn't act in accordance to protect him, and that's a big lie. You just heard Mr. Summers say it was a matter of seconds and the whole thing was over. I don't think even the Secret Service agents that were there, and Clint Hill. Oh, let me ask you this. The Secret Service agent that ran to the car, did you see that, Mr.
Yes,
Summers?
I did. I saw him, and I thought he actually dove, but I saw later on that he actually slipped on that back bumper.
Yes, he did.
But my first impression there was he dove to get in that car.
Yes, sir.
But he really slipped.
Yes.
But that was what he was trying to do was both the same thing, end results.
Yes, sir.
He was trying to be up there.
Well, you know, they did all they could that day. The thing happened. The assassination was much critical. Also, Mr. Summers, just for a point of interest, it wasn't long after the headshot and everything you left Dealey Plaza. How much would you say? How many minutes before
When
you
I
left?
left, well, I'd say it was probably maybe as much as 10 minutes before I actually left Dealey Plaza.
And when you left Dealey Plaza, you went home.
No, well, I did go home, but my car was right straight across the other grassy knoll over there, Commerce Street, right behind the U.S. Post Office.
Yes, sir.
My truck I was driving. And so then I got in first I called my wife, and then I got in my truck, and I went home, which is out at Oak Cliff.
Yes, sir.
Near where Jack Ruby lived.
And yes, sir. And that's what I was going to say. Then when you got home, and while you were there talking with your wife, it wasn't too much longer, y'all heard that there had been a policeman shot in Oak Cliff.
Yes, that's right. And when I got home, it was probably 10 or 15 police cars circling that neighborhood. And I was wondering what in the world, until I actually found out later what had happened.
Yes, sir.
About Officer Tippett getting shot. Then I knew why was so many there.
Yes, sir. In '63, Mr. Summers, had you ever had an occasion to meet Jack Ruby or know him?
I never knew him personally, but I, being the person I am, I had visited his nightclub.
Yes, sir.
In the past, yes. I had visited his nightclub.
And you had been in the carousel?
Yes, I had.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. Well, Mr. Summers, we're going to end this interview. I want to thank you for your time. Mr. Summers, you are a part of history. You were in Dealey Plaza, November the 22nd, 1963, probably still the most tragic day in the history of our country. September the 11th, 2001 was certainly bad when America was attacked from foreign enemies. But November the 22nd of '63, the day President John Fitzgerald Kennedy was assassinated, in my mind will remain the darkest day of our
And I can share that with you.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, Mr. Summers, and we enjoyed talking with you.
And you're welcome. Thank you.
Today is July the 31st, 2003. Today is Thursday. I'm in Dallas, Texas, and I'm at the home of Mr. and Miss Ernest Brandt. Mr. Brandt is sitting here to my right. Mr. Brandt, on November the 22nd of 1963, was in Dealey Plaza, the west end of downtown Dallas, and he was on the north sidewalk on Elm Street, just a few feet past Houston Street, between Houston and the Triple Underpass, at the very moments that President John Fitzgerald Kennedy was assassinated. Mr. Brandt, who has lived in Dallas many, many years and worked in Dallas and now retired, he did a 3-year term down at the museum as a guide, and he went down and showed people what he saw that day. And he is a part of history as witnesses to the Kennedy assassination. So, Mr. Brandt, we'll get into the interview now.
Okay.
As you know, it has been said the assassination took place at approximately 12:30.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What time did you arrive in Dealey Plaza?
Well, my customer, John Templin, and I arrived at about 12:20.
About 12:20?
Yeah.
So you'd say about 10 minutes before the...
About 10 minutes prior to the motorcade.
And you all took position on the sidewalk there on the north side of...
Yeah, on the north side of Elm Street, kind of backed up to the pergola, only closer to Houston Street.
Yes, sir.
I stepped it off one time from the point up there.
Yes, sir.
About to where we were. It's about 170 feet.
170 feet?
Yeah, down the slope.
That's about right, because I've done it. I got 169. You're right.
Okay.
That's right. Well, now, Mr. Brandt, when you saw the president's car come into view off of Main Street, just tell your own story of what you saw happen.
Well, when John and I arrived there, I kind of glanced around a little bit first, and I saw the policeman, Mr. Foster, Officer Foster, on top of the triple underpass. And I told John, I said, "See, there's a policeman on top there. That's to protect the president in case, you know,
yes, sir.
in case somebody gets angry." And then I glanced around, and I saw Mr. Zapruder,
yes, sir,
up on top of the pedestal, yes, adjusting his camera. And I nudged John. I said, "Hey, there's a guy that's going to get some. He's adjusting his camera. He's going to get some good movies of the motorcade."
Yes, sir.
Boy, did he get some good movies or not?
Yes, sir, he did.
Yeah. So anyway, and I glanced around a little bit more, And before I knew it, heard the motorcycles coming around the corner from Maine onto Houston.
Yes, sir.
You know, they roar quite a bit. And then everybody began to buzz a little bit. The ladies began to look, everybody straining their necks. And in a few seconds, of course, it's rounding the corner from Houston onto Elm.
At that point, Mr. Brandt, a lady standing next to you said an interesting thing.
Yeah, she did. It's very. And when the lead motorcycles rounded the corner from Houston onto Elm, Houston onto Elm Street, and they sped up their engines a little bit, you know,
Yes, sir.
kind of roars a little bit, you know, and she nudged me and she said, "Hey, it sure would be a great day to rob a bank out in the suburbs, wouldn't it?"
Thinking all the police were down.
Yeah, thinking all the cops in the county were down there in the motorcade, and I said, "Well, ma'am, maybe so, but I don't think I'd care to do that."
And I'm not here for that.
No,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
So
And then before you know it, you know, the limousine was moving about 11 miles an hour. They figured 10 to 11, and so it comes by pretty quick. And so here's Kennedy right in front of me, and I'm looking right straight at him all the time. I didn't even see Mrs. Kennedy, Governor Connolly, or anybody else but John F.
You came to see the president.
Yeah, came to see the president, and he was casually waving for a bit there, and then his arm drops to the side of the car. And then as he got just past me and John at about 1 o'clock, a position of 1 o'clock in relation to our spot on the curb, I heard a loud report. Yeah.
Heard a shot.
And yeah, and of course, not expecting anything like that, I thought, well, motorcycle backfire. That was my first thought. And I was still looking at John Kennedy when that shot occurred, when that noise occurred, and I saw his arms come up in this manner. Now I'm at his right rear, see, so I saw him from this backside. And my second thought was that Kennedy heard the motorcycle backfire, and he was playfully reacting to that, see, as if to say, whoa, somebody may be shooting, I better duck.
a lot of people say that.
Yeah, and so, but then, boy, in about 3 seconds, there was another loud report. Boy, then I thought, oh my God.
This is the second report.
Yeah, the second report, second loud noise. I thought, my God, that wasn't a motorcycle backfire I heard, that was a shot.
Yes, sir.
Boy, then my heart began to pound and my adrenaline began to rush. And I thought, God almighty, I don't know where the shots are coming from. Maybe I better try to hide someplace. Well, I looked behind me and there's a big tree.
Yes, sir.
And I ran immediately for that tree. And while I was running for the tree, the third shot was fired.
Yes, sir.
See, but John Templin stayed on that curb, and he saw that third shot hit the president in the head and blow his brains out.
Yes, sir. And Mr.
Yeah.
Templin was standing just to your immediate
Just to
left.
my left, right on my left, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now, I didn't see that. All I saw was his reaction to the first shot.
Yes, sir.
Now, my wife doesn't like for me to tell people that I ran for the tree. She said, well, it seems like everybody, you're a coward. But I was a coward.
Well, one of the motorcycle officers jumped off his motorcycle.
That's right.
And he
I
ran
remember that.
for the post, and he wasn't a coward. He was just trying to get somewhere.
Yeah.
To,
And he forgot to put his kickstand down, the one I saw, and it fell over with a loud crash, adding to the pandemonium.
Yes, sir.
And the people screaming and yelling and running and everything. But I ran for that tree as quick as I could. And when I got to the tree, then I glanced back down toward the triple underpass, and the limousine, the taillights were lit.
Yes, sir.
See? And I knew that he had his foot on the brake pedal.
Yes, sir.
But it didn't appear to be stopped, and I couldn't tell for sure at that angle. But it was all over. I didn't see Mrs. Kennedy climb out on the trunk of the car. I didn't see the Secret Service agent, Clint Hill, run up to the back or anything.
Because you were running.
I was running for that tree.
Now, when you saw the tail lights on, Mr. Brandt, were both tail lights on?
Yeah, as I recall, both were on, yeah. But then it wasn't but a second. I saw the taillights on, and he hit that accelerator, and black smoke poured out, and it was gone.
This is okay.
It took off.
And he said he hit the brake. I don't know if you've ever read Bill Greer's testimony.
No, I never have.
Yes, sir. It's in, I think it's volume 8 of the Warren report.
Yeah.
And he said he hit the brake. He made a quote, and I'll get that to you and let you read it, and you come to your
Okay,
own conclusion.
all right.
Now, Mr. Brandt, after this happened, the president was hit, and you ran up by the tree, and he was hit. Mr. Templeton remained on the curb. You looked down toward the overpass, and you saw the car and the taillights.
Yeah.
What did you do then? To your best
Well,
remember?
then when it took off, I thought, well, it's all over. So then I hurried back to the curb, and there was John standing on the curb. And we looked at each other for a minute there, and we couldn't believe what had happened.
just happened.
Yeah. And I said to him, where'd the shots come from? His nickname is Chick. So I said, where'd the shots come from, Chick? He said, gosh, Ernie, I don't know. You tell me. Neither one of us had any idea at the time where the shots originated.
Because it happened so fast.
Yeah, it happened so fast and so unexpected, and it just seemed to be non-directional from where we were standing. Now, there was no echo, like you know echo in the mountains. You know, you say, hello, and it comes back, hello.
Hello.
None of that stuff. If there was an echo, it was very quick, and it was
Over.
right with the sound. So anyway, well, we stood there for a second looking at each other, and And I happened to be facing toward the pergola, and he was facing the other way. And I saw the back of the pergola with its back slotted back wall, you know?
Yes, sir.
Out of the corner of my eye, I said, John, Chick, it looks like that back wall of that building over there has holes in it, and somebody could have stood behind that wall and fired and got away clean.
Many people have said that.
Yeah, and he looked over there and he said, yeah, it does. We ran up there kind of quick like and peered through the slot in the back wall, and I fully expected to see somebody running with a gun because it'd only been about a minute or a minute and a half, and there was nobody back there, nothing but railroad boxcars and railroad tracks, and that's all. So then we just kind of looked at each other. We walked back down to the curb, and I think at that point I said, Chick, we better tell the police we were here. They might want to talk to us. Well, he said, he looked at his watch and he said, hey, it's past 12:30 and I'm supposed to be back at work at 12:30. I better go.
Well, let me ask you,
Okay.
Mr. Brandt. Now, did you see any smoke near the picket fence?
None whatsoever.
You saw no smoke.
Saw no smoke.
When the first two shots that you heard, and you were still looking at the president, did you see any shots hit the curb in front of the president or
No.
the pavement?
I saw no shots or heard no shots hit pavement or anything.
That's good. And you did see the policeman get off his motorcycle and run up the road?
Absolutely. I saw him jump off the motorcycle, and he didn't put the kickstand down and fell over with a very loud crash.
Okay, sir. And now, do you remember, Mr. Brandt, because, and I'm asking you this because many people, it's a great controversy. Do you remember a train going across that overpass at that
No,
time?
I don't remember a train either. Not at the time of the assassination.
That's good. That's good. And I asked you earlier before we started doing the interview, did you see the lady in the red raincoat across the street?
No,
And
I
you
really
said
didn't
no.
see her.
And you didn't see the woman in the brown coat either because you weren't paying any attention?
No, I wasn't really looking at people over there.
Okay.
So I didn't see anybody over there.
And then, of course, like you said, after the shooting, as the shooting was going on, you ran up toward the tree.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Brandt, when you looked in the direction, when you and Mr. Templin ran up and looked out of the holes through the pergola, you said you didn't see anyone. Did you see any policemen back there at that time?
No, I did not even see a policeman.
At that time?
No, not at that time.
That's yeah. Do you remember seeing anyone beyond where Mr. Zapruder was standing on the pedestal, between, say, where Mr. Zapruder was standing with his secretary and the fence? Did you see any activity?
No, no.
Saw no activity.
I imagine that, as I think about it now, as we kind of trotted up toward the pergola, I was looking at the pergola at that time, and I didn't look around any other direction,
other way.
except I did notice that a few other people were running toward the pergola too,
Yes, sir.
and a policeman or two.
Yes, sir.
And that's about all I saw.
With you in line?
Well,
with you?
not in line, but, you know, kind of off in little,
To the
yeah,
left of
15
you.
or 20 feet away from us.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. And the total number of shots that you heard, Mr. Brandt, were what?
3.
You heard 3 shots?
3
that
shots
fateful
only.
Friday.
And John Templin says 3 shots.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I met Mr. Templin years later in the plaza with you. Very, very good gentleman, and
Yeah.
and both of you all are standing right there, no doubt. And you're certainly a part of history. Mr. Brandt, did you see the part where Miss Kennedy climbed out on the trunk of the car?
No, I didn't see that.
I don't know if you know it over the years, and in the Zapruder film, you can see there appears to be what is called a piece of brain mass that she reached out and picked up.
I think it's a piece of his skull, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, skull,
Piece of skull,
and,
yeah.
and it's brain mass attached to
In
it.
the
Yes, sir.
Zapruder film, you can see 2 big chunks of
Yes, sir.
something on there.
Yes, sir.
She leans on her left hand and reaches
which
out with her
got it.
right.
She
yeah.
did, and she picked it up.
Yeah.
When they got to Parkland, she gave it to Dr. Jenkins and Dr.
Yeah.
Peters. She sure did.
I didn't see that, though. See, I was running
Yeah,
for the
sure,
tree.
yeah.
That happened, you know, it didn't take me but a couple of seconds to get to that tree, but that was already over and
Yeah,
through.
it happened so
Happened so
fast.
fast, yeah.
6 seconds it was over.
Yeah.
About 5 or 6 seconds.
That's right.
Did you ever see, they called a man, he was up there in the Phil Willis film, and I'm mentioning that Mr. Willis film because it's in many books, and if there's a problem, I take sole responsibility. The Black Dog Man, the man that they said was up there on the little wall.
Oh, yeah, I've heard
You know
about I've heard about him.
Did you see him?
No, I didn't see him.
You didn't see him
No,
either?
I didn't see him at all.
Did you see a soldier up there?
No, I didn't see a soldier.
There was
Is
a
that man named Gordon something or
Gordon
other?
Arnold.
Gordon Arnold?
And,
I didn't
he said
see
he was
him.
standing over by the fence.
Yeah.
And of course, like you say, when you were running in before and after, you may not have just seen him. I do believe myself Mr. Arnold was up there. The last two things we'll ask Mr. Brandt is, in your opinion, over your years of the fact that you were in Dealey Plaza, and then certainly your years of research
Yeah.
Since 1963, and still being a living witness, in your opinion, do you believe that all the shots came from behind, or that some of them come from both ways?
Well, my almost 40 years of research, off and on,
Yes, sir.
has convinced me that Mr. Oswald acted alone, fired 3 shots from the window, and there's no credible evidence anywhere that anybody fired the shots from any other location.
That is your
That's
opinion
my personal opinion,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Right,
Well, that's
yeah.
all we want. That's all
Yeah,
we ask on
okay.
these interviews. And I told you we weren't going to, keep you long. We've been here now about 20 minutes, and we certainly appreciate you letting us come into your home, Mr. Brandt. I'd like to end this saying once again that Mr. Earnest Brandt, Mr. Brandt, if you don't mind, how old are you now?
I'll be 77 in September.
He's 77 years old now,
Yeah.
2003. And
And looking forward to the 40th anniversary down
yes, sir.
there with,
Yes, sir.
with John
I'm
Templer.
living, Mr. Brandt, myself, and many of the witnesses, we will all be there in Dealey Plaza November the 22nd, 2003.
Will you be filming some down there then, you think?
No, sir. We're just going to be people there talking and meeting, and we're going to have a big prayer, and
Yeah.
it's going to be a big event. I think a lot of the people that's still living will be there.
I think so too. I hope so.
I'd like to say that before this, one thing I do want to say, many researchers, and there have been many books written about the Kennedy assassination, many documentaries done, films taped, witnesses over the years. Then you have all these people who call themselves experts, and they wasn't even in Dealey Plaza. I was in Dealey Plaza as an 8-year-old kid, but I can't, I didn't see anything. I know we heard some shots. It was 4 shots that we heard, 3 or 4 that we heard, and we were over by the fountain. So once again, I never have tried to document anything because I was a child.
Yeah.
My grandmother, my aunt, Miss Hattie Mae Williams, did give some statements to the sheriff's department that day. But I want to say this. Many researchers have tried to discredit people like Mr. Brandt. They can't. The photographic evidence most definitely proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that Mr. Earnest Brandt, along with Mr. John Templer, they were standing on the north sidewalk, and he most definitely was there, and Mr. Brandt is one of the true living eyewitnesses to the Kennedy assassination today. And we thank God for him. I thank God he's still alive.
Yeah.
And may God continue to bless him and his wife. And he is certainly a great part of history, Mr. Earnest Brandt.
Thank you. Thank you
sir.
very much.
Come on. Let's see, today is August the 5th, 2003, and I'm sitting with Mr. Austin Miller. Mr. Miller worked with the Louisiana Freight Railroad lines back in 1963, and Mr. Miller was in Dealey Plaza November the 22nd, 1963 on a Friday at approximately 12:30 p.m. Mr. Miller was up on the triple overpass with about 10 other guys, and he was looking at the presidential motorcade as it turned off from Houston Street onto M, and the car came down a few feet, and that's when they began to hear what they thought were shots, and Mr. Miller seen some of the enclave of what happened to President Kennedy. So Mr. Miller, now you were standing up on the triple overpass, right?
That's correct. We was all up there looking down inside the convoy coming around. It came around there.
And before we go on with this, I'd like to say Mr. Miller has requested that his picture not be shown, and we are doing a voice interview. His picture will not be shown. And Mr. Miller, now you was up there with Roy Skelton and about 8 or 9 other guys, right?
There was roughly a dozen people up there all together.
And you do remember seeing at least one police officer.
No, I saw about 3 of them up
There
there.
was 3, okay, yeah.
All
that was.
together up there.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that was J.W. Foster, Earl Brown, and J.C. White. That was their name. And when the car turned the corner, Mr. Miller, I'll just let you say in your own words, when the car turned off of Elm Street, off of Houston and started down Elm, what did you see?
Well, he got about a third of the way down, and at first we thought it was firecrackers
Yep.
he had thrown out. And there was about 3, maybe 4 went off, and we really didn't know for sure exactly what it was. And then all of a sudden, the police officers and everybody swarmed the presidential's limousine, and as they swarmed it to protect him, it took off underneath the underpass.
Yes, sir.
And at the time, there was one officer who went past it, laid his bike down, and went up the grassy knoll, searching that area. And then all of a sudden, that whole area was surrounded with police officers.
Yes, sir. And you saw that.
Yeah, saw it all.
And Mr. Miller, do you remember seeing Miss Kennedy stand up in the car?
No, not offhand.
Okay, you don't
Because it was just so much confusion going on, and
And it happened real fast.
it happened so fast. And we were actually, like I said, we don't know if it was firecrackers, a gunshot. We couldn't tell where it was coming from.
Mr. Miller, do you remember seeing one of the Secret Service agents, one of the guys in the black suits, run to the president's car?
Yes,
You did see that?
I saw that where he kind of dove up on the car
Yes.
and everything. I did
Yeah.
see that.
His name was Clint Hill. He was a Secret Service agent, and you did see that. And Mr. Miller, now let me ask you. In your Warren report here, I have a copy of your testimony, and like you say, it's been 40 years, and you may not remember. You may not even remember some of the things you said in it, certainly, because it's been 40 years. But you did say that you got there at about 12:15, 12:20.
Yes, a little after 12 we got there.
Okay, you and Mr. Skelton, that's what it says right here. And you had been there about 15 minutes when this happened.
Roughly 15, 20 minutes.
Okay. And then the other thing was you made a comment that you saw the motorcycle fall over on the ground against the curb.
Right,
And the officer ran up the hill.
correct.
And do you remember if he had his gun in his hand?
No, I don't.
You don't remember that. That's fine, sir. And also it says right here that you saw a man about 10 minutes prior to the shooting come up the hill, and he asked the officer if he could stand up there with you all. Do you remember that?
No, I don't. Not right now, I don't. It may have happened, but I don't remember now.
Oh, yeah, certainly. Like I said, it's been 40 years.
Yeah.
We'll be in November, and I know. The other thing, I got about 3 more questions, Mr. Miller, and we'll cut this short.
Yeah,
But
I do know that fact that they only let the people who was working for the railroads up there.
That was one of the questions I was going to
Yeah.
ask. That was established that day.
Right.
Mr. Miller, after the assassination, do you remember seeing police officers in the parking lot?
Oh, they was all over that hillside.
Yes, sir.
The parking lot and everything. And then we left for maybe 10 minutes. I went back down to my car and listened to it on the radio to see exactly what did happen.
Yes,
And
sir.
that's when we found out he was shot and was on the way to Parkland Hospital. And then we returned back up on top of the overpass, and that's when we were questioned then as to what we were there. We told them, and then that's when they took us around to be questioned further.
At the sheriff's department?
Right.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Miller, when the president was hit in the head, did you see that?
No,
You did not see that.
no. The impact of these shells or anything, we did not. I did not personally see it. Now,
Yes.
anybody else did, I don't know.
Yes, sir. I understand. That's good. That's you just telling it like it is, and that's the way. That was, and actually, I wanted you to know this. Even though y'all were up there, out of the 11 or 12 people that were up there with you, only 3 actually saw. Like you just said, they weren't looking. They were looking and listening to the sound of the shot, and they wasn't looking at the car. And that is in the history books and in the testimony of many of the people that were up
Yeah.
there with you. Now, Sam Holland, you did know him.
Well, I have heard of since then now. Like down there, I remember the name Holland down there in the building, but
Yep.
now just who he was for sure, I don't remember.
He was a terminal supervisor, union terminal supervisor.
Yeah.
And he was one of the three that actually saw the shot when he hit the president. Of course, he was standing a little bit further down from you, where you were in your position.
Yeah. We were all within about a 8 to 10 foot area.
Yes, sir. That's right. That's right. That's right. There's a picture. There's one picture that was taken, a film that was taken by Jim Hawkins, and in that film we can see you and Mr. Holland, Mr. Skelton, all 11 of you, and then there's one police officer standing pretty much behind you, J.W. Foster.
Well, there was one police officer standing right behind us.
Yeah, that's him.
There was one across the bridge,
J.C. White.
and then there was one north of us, out there on the railroad tracks north of us.
Yes, sir.
So,
There's also Earl V. Brown.
yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to cut this short. Reading Mr. Miller's health is not in real good health, but I just wanted to talk with him today. He didn't want to be on film. The thing is, Mr. Miller was in Dealey Plaza. He's a part of history. He has told the truth over the years of what he saw and heard that fateful Friday. And Mr. Miller's a longtime Dallas area resident and worked many years, retired now. And the good Lord still has him here with us. Thank God for that. And it was a very tragic. Mr. Miller has told me that he feels very ashamed even to this day what happened. Like myself, I've been in Dallas myself 47 years, and it marred Dallas, and it still does today. And it's really sad that would ever happen anywhere, but I'm certainly sad that it happened here in our hometown. Mr. Miller, I want to thank you for letting us talk with you.
Well,
And,
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. We certainly enjoy getting you on the voice, and like I said, the only thing will be heard on this is your voice, and I'm the only one on the camera. And once we get this tape together, we will give you a copy of it.
Well, I
I
appreciate
want to
it.
leave this with you. That is a copy of your Warren Commission testimony that you gave April 8, 1964. You were interviewed by Mr. Beelan of the President's Assassination Council, and we thank you, sir.
Oh, okay, I appreciate it.
Yeah, Mr. Miller, we just did the interview a little while ago, and we finished. We just wanted to ask you one more question. You made a statement to Speed that, and with the reason we asked you that, not only you saw that, several people saw that, and you're the only one that's living now that actually seen it other than one lady. Now, you did see some debris hit in front or behind the presidential limousine?
Yes, there was something, that's why we thought with firecrackers was something hit the cement 15 to 20 feet behind, and it threw up a little powder like, which might have been smoke from a firecracker or so. At that time, we thought that's what it was.
Yes, sir.
And we didn't know what else it could be at the time. We never even dreamed it'd be a gunshot.
And that was between the president's car and the vice president's car?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And the mention of steam, as people have mentioned over the years, several people, not only yourself, many people. And as you know, some people said it was gun smoke. In your opinion, was it steam or could have been gun smoke?
My own personal opinion, that it could have been just about anything. Like I said, it might have been a little steam because there was steam pipes up there. It could have been some kind of a reflection from something else, haze in the air.
I'm glad you said that, Mr. Miller. This is my last question. Since you worked there, and you went to work there in 1958, so in 63 you had been working there 5 years, and you were there quite a bit. You saw those steam pipes.
Well, I saw pipes up there. I don't know exactly what all they were for.
I'm not just saying on the day of the assassination. But
Oh yeah, there were pipes up there all over that deal,
Yes,
but just what they were for, because I have no earthly idea. I know that used to be an old train station whenever they had the old coal burning cars and everything else down there. So
Mr.
what all they
Miller,
were used for.
during the time of the shots, do you remember a train crossing the bridge?
No, not offhand. I can't remember that.
I believe you certainly would have remembered that.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Thank you. We appreciate it very much.